Stay nice for one more day. Give me the one from the sun and the love from the James. I can't believe.
Hi, Selena.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, welcome back.
Thank you.
Welcome back.
Welcome.
I think people probably hate that by this point.
Do you like Matt's intro? Welcome back.
Please go to all social media and poll whether or not you like.
Yeah, let us
Welcome
know
back.
on Instagram, MovementRVA podcast on Instagram.
Where can they comment?
They can comment on the YouTube page, CrossFit RVA. Subscribe, comment, tell us how horrible we are. Also, you can find this podcast on Stitcher and iTunes. Leave us a review on iTunes, 5 stars or 4 stars.
Does anyone else think it's weird how close your mouth has to be to
It
this
doesn't
thing?
have to be that close. It's me. This is episode 15. We're doing something really, really different. I am Matt Cricchio, and I have 2 great, wonderful, beautiful, sexual friends.
Emphasize those last 2.
Yeah, the
Just-
last one.
Justin Williams,
Hello.
who we'll call Jaw probably the entire time, and Jamie Sulc.
Hello. Just for the record, since most people don't know, my last name is pronounced Schultz. Thank you.
Schultz.
If you want to know where that comes from,
Sulc.
just send me an email. I'll be happy to explain it to
Jamie,
you.
stop. Who cares about that?
No one cares.
I'm very sensitive about last names.
All right.
I know other people are too.
We're back. Episode 15.
I'm very sensitive to phonetics.
Phonetics. I got it. Really exciting news.
What is this news that you have?
So exciting. Our
What's exciting?
tiny podcast actually has a sponsor,
Oh my gosh.
and it's an awesome sponsor. Koios, not to be confused with coitus, is a nootropic that now sponsors the podcast. We have bottles here. You guys will get a bottle after this podcast.
I've heard good things about this.
I take it now that they hooked us up, and I swear to God, I feel like a mental titan.
It does say enhanced focus. I'm more concerned about or intrigued by this lucid dream.
True story. Actually, Darren on the last podcast talked about, because he started taking it too, his lucid dreaming. It's different from vivid dreaming that like I would get from ZMA.
Mhm.
It's like regular life, except I wouldn't say like I feel like I'm controlling things, but I feel like I'm very involved in what's going on, and it's super clear, and it's hard to distinguish from reality a little bit.
Interesting.
So
Well, that's only going to enhance my dreams because I often wake up thinking I'm at a super fit event
yes, and you should take it
in the middle of it.
so you can feel like you're in.
And
the
then I
middle
can't
of
go
it.
back to sleep. I don't know whether I'm awake or not.
In fact,
That's how
sorry, I cut you off. That's
No.
horrible.
that's how real it seems.
You can get 25% off by going to mentaltitan.com and typing in the code RVA. I'll say that one more time, 25% off. The code at mentaltitan.com, RVA.
I can't wait to try
Victor
it.
Alpha, you should try it.
Anything that will allow me to refer to myself as a titan
You're into it.
sounds like it's just awesome.
Yeah, I love it, and that's no bullshit. I seriously like it a lot. It's good stuff. Enough of plugs. Let's just be us right now.
All right. We can only be us.
Hair plugs.
I
I need them.
I need some hair plugs too. So we do a thing, and I don't know if anyone likes it, but I like it. Drink of the day. And you two fellas have some very interesting drinks on the table right now. Say what it is without maybe saying the name of the actual company.
I have a beer that tastes great and is less filling.
It's a light Pilsner.
It's a fine Pilsner.
It's probably my favorite drink of all time.
This is your favorite drink of all time?
Yes.
Jamie, it tastes like piss.
I like it. That's okay.
Okay.
To each his own, right?
I agree.
Yeah, you're an individual, Jamie. You should be allowed to have your own favorite drink.
You know the problem with putting your face this close to the mic is like hot breath reflect that comes right off of it. My face is like I'm sweating right now from the heat of my own breath.
I am a very simple man of simple taste, so when I find something I like, I stick with it. I'm not very adventurous.
Nothing wrong with that. What do you like, Cricchio.
Well, it's
It
funny.
seemed like you were looking down on my man for his simple choice.
No,
Yeah.
because the coffee I'm drinking today is not special. It's not hipster
That is
hoity-toity,
that is so much the truth.
but it's delicious.
It's
You have-
basically the most budget iced coffee you could
You
ever
have
get.
you have the fine Pilsner equivalent
You do.
to iced coffee.
And-
It's a 44-ounce iced coffee.
I really, it's delicious. We
bet-
don't have much to say about these
I
drinks.
bet that
It's
doesn't doesn't fit your macros. I bet.
no macro. Come on.
So
If anyone's been listening to the past 14 episodes, they know I've been on a journey to tighten down the old diet, and I have been watching my macros, and it's been working. But this coffee does not fit any macro I have right now.
that's
You're
all right.
looking good though. You are looking good.
Thank you.
Slim, trim,
Not any of those.
ready to win. That doesn't rhyme, but
But you're getting slimmer and trimmer.
Trimmer. It's because I've been training with you guys.
because you're a winner, that was better.
So
Wow.
we're gonna change the segment. We're gonna change things we hate this week because we're gonna go to a more positive spin.
Yeah, I think.
Are we doing things that we baffle this week? That baffle us? This
Things
week?
that
What are
blow
we
our
doing?
mind this week.
things that blow? Yeah, this was your segment.
Yeah.
Which is not like we're not like being positive per se, but we're just gonna get off the hate train for a little while.
Yeah.
We're gonna be positive when we answer these listener questions.
Yep. After the break, we are going to answer your questions, but first, let's talk about things that blow our mind this week.
For me, I brought this up. For me, I think that it's very simple in what blows my mind, which is no surprise because I am simple-minded. But
Simple Jack.
we were talking the other day, and for as long as I can remember, this has been a quandary for me, and even now that it's so very antiquated, it's so old, and people that are listening to this podcast may or may not have ever even seen one of these things, which is even crazier to imagine. They're probably
Most people aren't going to know what you're talking
definitely
about.
people in this gym that have never used one, and if they saw one, they would be like, what is this giant weird box?
I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
The VCR.
Things that blow our mind this week. The VCR.
And let me back up as to
what
why.
does VCR stand for? First of all,
Video.
cassette recorder.
Cassette recorder.
Yeah. So what about it that blows my mind is, and there are probably numerous people that I could ask that could probably explain this to me in such great detail that it would only further confuse me. But how in God's name can you put a big block of plastic with a little ribbon running through it into a bigger box and not only have video but also sound synced up with said video that comes off of a string, and it travels through a cord and plays on your TV for you? Like, what in the hell?
How do we get the greatest cinematic masterpieces, or the
How do you record something onto a strip and then it
plays for
sound
you perfectly?
I don't
It's-
understand.
Same thing with the DVD. How do you put something in a flat plastic disc and then it entertains you for hours?
Like, I feel like that I should be able to look at it, at least with, like, the old school video, you could see the pictures. And it looked like the negative. You could see
like
like
the old
little,
8mm films,
yeah, you
things
could
like that.
see it. Like, so I understand. Oh, you run it through at a high speed. I get that. I still have no clue how sound comes off of that. But the DVD,
they played them separately.
Oh, that makes sense.
True story.
But
yeah, the old movies they didn't.
the
It was recorded on
DVDs,
film
it's
and
like-
then sound.
It's so like mind-boggling, and a lot of these things, they're so commonplace. Even like in today's world, you could even go so much farther, but they become so commonplace that you just don't. If you sit and think about what had to happen, like what kind of genius had to occur for these things that we use in everyday life.
Things that are taken for granted.
You're using a VCR every day.
Well, I was. I mean, not every day.
So
but-
like, let's bring this a little
Well,
further.
today it's the DVD.
No,
or
no,
the
no,
Blu-ray.
not even
Or the
DVDs anymore.
Netflix, I
It's,
mean,
it's this.
yeah, you can touch that and things happen. It's glass. You touch it.
This has more information in it than could be stored in like 5 rooms back in the day.
Yeah, and like it knows like your skin. I mean, I don't understand. Like, if you put like a glove on and touch it, it doesn't do anything.
Knows your skin.
I want to know your skin. I mean, that just, things, I wasn't like an IT major. I didn't learn like binary code programming. I understand that there's a very logical way that you arrive at how these things happen. But programming aside, the actual device and the infrastructure behind it had to be invented and made before any of that programming made a bit of difference. And just the thought of all the things that I can do.
Well, the invention,
crazy.
The invention of it, and the tests that had to take place.
I mean, it's just completely mind blowing. I mean, it just goes to show you.
How did they arrive? Well, I guess whoever invented
geniuses.
it had a grand idea of how it was going to work, and then when they finally got there, obviously they knew it was going to work. But how many tests did something like that take? How many VCRs or?
Think about the perseverance.
Why are we
had to
talking
have
about VCRs?
Because that blows my mind.
Let's
go. He can go back even farther. It's like the record player. You used to shout into this tube, and it carved a wax disc, and you ended up with sound. Get the hell out of here, man!
You realize we're talking about things that are literally outdated, but they're blowing your mind right now.
But I'm saying that's what I'm getting at. It's like they're already so outdated, and I still can't even fathom how they operate.
Do you know what my version of this is?
What's this?
So we all have to eat, right? Every person, that's our commonality.
Right.
And let's just say that grass and sunshine make cows, right? Can we say that?
Grass and sunshine, like they're born from grass and sunshine.
No, cows live because there's grass and sunshine.
Okay.
Correct.
And then I live because there's cows. That doesn't blow your mind when you think about it?
Circle of life.
This circle of life is crazy as a VCR.
I mean, it's probably the world's greatest mystery.
Jamie, what blows your mind this week?
Well, when Jarl
You need
brought
to
up
get hypes on right now.
when Jarl brought up the VCR, I haven't been able to stop thinking about it. So
It's mine.
the things that there are many things that blow my mind.
Let's hear them.
Well,
Hot girls and ugly dudes. I'm just saying.
That's my life. Don't talk about that.
Don't talk about my life.
no, I guess it's a very general thing.
What is
and
it?
it goes along the lines with talking about things that are outdated, but how quickly things shift with technology. Like going from the VCR.
He's still
to
talking
the
about
DVD.
VCR.
Well, but I'm just saying, like from
Most impressive invention
Just-
of the last 20 years.
but
Ever.
like we used VCRs when we were 10 years old. That was 25 years ago.
Remember
for
you had
me.
to blow in the Nintendo cartridge?
Yes.
By the way.
Spit in it, basically.
But my point is
Slap it
how
around.
how quickly these things change.
Right.
I mean, I know, some people may think that 10 years or whatever the run for the VCR was is a very long time, but it's not. And I guess the thing that boggles my mind the most is how quickly time passes, and with regard to technology.
And I feel like that as we get
Or
older,
how-
time passes faster.
Whoa.
Well, I mean, not to sound like Bill and Ted or anything like that, but, I have this phone right here, and 10 years ago, it was this small and couldn't do anything.
Nothing.
What was that small?
The StarTAC.
My phone.
Your phone was this small?
you have
Because
a-
10 years ago, my phone was this big.
StarTACs, man.
10 years ago was 2005, man. We still had flip phones, and when you flipped them, closed them up, they were this small.
Dude, I remember when they put cameras in there to take pictures.
That was
with.
unbelievable.
I literally remember that. And I was like,
getting a camera phone.
whoa.
But that's what I'm saying.
Whoa.
So you started off with the Zach Morris cell phone.
The box, the Gordon Gekko Wall Street, bouncing down the street.
You had to carry it in a suitcase.
And then they were in the bags. And then they were in cars.
It was like a sat phone, like for your comms in the military.
I remember
pop
when
up a
my-
little like satellite.
My uncle, as a kid, had a car phone. And I was like, you are the richest son of a bitch in
You
the
are
world.
so rich because back then it was like $5 a second to
Yeah.
call somebody.
It was like an international phone call. Or
But, I mean, things change so fast. And I guess the speed at which things change.
speed of change, exponential.
And, of course, having two kids now, I realize that things change. Time goes by a whole lot faster.
Do you think anyone listening to this point so far has felt like this time has passed very fast?
No, they're probably bored to tears.
Yeah, they hate this.
Well, you know what I feel like?
Or maybe we fostered deeper thought.
Yeah.
Maybe we just blew someone's mind. Like, man, I really don't understand how a VCR works.
Minds are blown, and when we come back, we will blow your mind further when we answer your questions.
Let's do this.
We got some good ones.
I'm excited for this.
Jaw, you've been doing CrossFit for like 25 years.
I've been doing CrossFit for like 25 years.
Jamie is the head trainer at CrossFit RBA.
Yes.
Master's degree from the do they call it the University of Virginia?
The University of
Like
Virginia. Yes.
like the Ohio State?
Yes.
Okay.
The Ohio State stole it
In
from us. Sure.
In your degree is in I really know it and I sound like an idiot right now. Tell me what it's in. Tell him what it's in.
Exercise physiology.
This guy knows what he's talking about. I'm here for color commentating.
I know a little bit.
I'm here for experiences and no actual scientific data.
You guys have popped a Koyos.
Yes.
You are revving at the highest RPMs right now.
I already feel more focused.
I'm approaching Titan-like focus.
First question, how to choose rest days. How to choose rest days. How do you choose rest days? I imagine this question, though, has a little bit of a twist to it, particularly because we program for 5 days a week.
Right.
But obviously the intention is not, well, you tell us. Is the intention to come all 5 days and take the weekend off?
Yes. That is the general, I think that's a general model. Most people, obviously are working during the week and, need time on the weekends to take care of things, whatever they may be. Kids or no kids or shopping, home chores, whatever. So I think in general we plan for most folks to come Monday through Friday with the intention that they'll rest on Saturday and Sunday.
How do you choose your rest days?
I think for myself and the fact that, like you said, I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm also, I'm not like old, but I'm also not a 23-year-old, and
He's no spring chicken.
in all these years of training, you kind of get a feel for where your sweet spot is in terms of training and how often and how frequent. And I think that it really is it's going to be a week to week thing, because if you have a hard week, your body's going to need more rest. And I think that the best barometer for you choosing your rest days is going to be listening to your body and not feeling like some undue pressure to like make it in here every day. And if you want to come in every day, it doesn't mean that you have to try to like kill yourself 5 days a week. If something's bothering you, listen to your body, understand that you're a little wrecked, like your hands are messed up, or you feel like they're on the verge of a tear or something, or for me it's my shoulder. Monday actually, was it Monday? Yeah.
No, Tuesday.
What day did we snatch? Was it Monday?
Tuesday.
So Tuesday we did like a bunch of heavy snatching. There was like shoulder to overheads and toes to bar, and my shoulders are my weak point in terms of fatigue and injury. And the next day I woke up and my shoulder was killing me. So that tells me that, hey, I need to maybe not do anything that's really shoulder intense that day. So I think at the end of the day, it's going to be different for everybody. Like we can't, I say we, but like, the Jamie and Jake and those people, we program a rest day, but that's a recommendation. We can't really tell your body when you need rest. Like you have to determine that on your own.
Right. I mean, there probably is no real best way to choose your rest day other than listen to your body. I know that probably seems like a very generic answer to most people.
Yeah, because I got a couple. Go ahead, but I got a couple questions.
It's vague and.
But it's true. I think. But in order to, not everybody understands what listening to your body means,
yes,
or is willing to listen to your body. So, from personal experience, I mean, I basically started CrossFitting, probably in the back half of 2011. Okay, before that, it was very kind of old school powerlifting, muscle and fitness type workouts, big box gym type stuff. So, not the most hard training on your joints. I didn't squat as much. I squatted, I deadlifted, I did a lot of that stuff, but I didn't snatch, I didn't clean and jerk, I didn't squat as much, I didn't deadlift as much. Everything wasn't always at such a vigorous intensity. And all those things do take a greater impact on your joints. There's no other way around it. That's not a negative, it's just a fact. If you take care of yourself, the long-term impact to those things will be minimized. And I think once people start to realize that, hey, it's okay that I rest. I'm not going to lose my gains. Gosh, I'm not going to get fat if I don't train on Sunday. I think they become more in tune with listening to your body.
Okay, so there's another person
To their bodies.
To your body. There's another person that also doesn't listen to their body, and it's the
Listen to your body.
the notorious cherry picker. How do you that's the thing that I think about a lot. I think there's the people that don't know when to quit, and then the people that quit too easily. Because you're going to be sore, and you're going to hurt to some extent.
Right.
And there's a difference between are you hurt or are you injured?
Well, there's a difference between like constructive soreness and destructive soreness,
right.
though. Like, good soreness from a workout is, some tightness, some I don't really know, like the feeling of
like local muscle soreness.
Yeah, like you
Right.
feel the muscles that you used when you try to engage that same range of motion, like you feel like tightness, but you don't feel like any. If you're feeling like sharp pains or anything that's like
Ripping or
really
tearing.
like really acute, like that's bad juju.
Yeah, I think there's a big misconception out there with folks that, especially when they come into a CrossFit gym or general fitness for that matter, they may think, oh shit, I'm really, really sore. If I work out tomorrow, I'm going to hurt myself. In all likelihood, probably not.
Right.
If your muscles are really sore, sometimes the worst thing you can do is just sit around and do nothing because you hurt so damn bad.
Right. You got to get that blood pumping and stretching things out.
Listening to your body, I feel like maybe we're morphing into something else, but listening to your body is something you have to learn and get used to. I'm trying not to
Rest when you need to rest.
This is the way I think about it, honestly. If you're honest with yourself and know you are a consistent trainer, exerciser, if you wake up and you do not feel like training, that's a good barometer or thing that you should pay attention to, because if you know you A, like to train, and B, you do train pretty frequently, the day you don't want to is probably the day that you should rest.
Right.
That's just
and I think that's a good point.
'Cause that's how you know, like, when the psychological sort of morphs into it, then I think that's a good indicator. Except if you're lazy and don't come very often, that's a totally different situation.
Well, yeah. Well, if you're not working out enough, you have plenty of rest days built in, so you're probably not ever going to feel.
And
like
you're also going to be way more sore if you're not a frequent gym goer. You're going to think like you go one day a week and you're sore, and then you take 4 days off, and then you go another day and you're sore.
Right.
Because there's a difference between soreness and injury,
Right. But how do you pick your rest days? You want to know how I pick mine?
Okay.
Do you want me to talk about that?
I would say that, yeah, how do you pick your rest days?
Well, I just kind of happened into the template that I follow now for working and resting. I read a few blog posts from some CrossFit folks and some general training people, and one of the guys I really admired, I met him at seminars. He liked 3 on, 1 off.
Who is he?
Zach Evanesh.
Oh yeah.
Underground
Strength
Gym.
Fitness. Yeah, gym.
I met him at a seminar. We talked about it a lot, and he was like, "Hey man, 3 on, 1 off, 2 on, 1 off. So train 5 days a week." At that point, I was training 5 days a week. I was basically going Monday through Friday, resting Saturday, and then training on Sunday.
So you were training 6 days a week.
I was training 6 days a week, but that 6th day or first day of the week, depending on how you look at it, was mostly kind of
super easy.
Yeah, it was hill sprints.
That's not super easy.
Things
Jamie.
like that.
Not for me.
He just lied about super easy.
It was super easy. It was like
easy.
Well, super. I wasn't. I
was doing Indian runs with 20 of my friends.
I wasn't hitting 5x5s
uphill.
But
we just rocked like 3 or 4 miles with 100-pound packs.
But so I was like, oh, but I never. And when he said that to me, I hadn't really thought about it very much because I was like 27, 28 years old, and I was like, I felt good, But as I thought about it, I was like, well, he said, think about it like this. If you have one more day where you're feeling better, how much, or one more day to rest, how much better can you attack those other 5 days? You know, he was training 5 days and 2 off. He said when he went to having 2 days off per week, adding in that extra rest day, he felt so much fresher. So I was like, what the hell? I'll try it. And over the last 4 or 5 years, it's worked really well. So I just kind of happened into that's how I pick my rest days.
Yeah.
But to y'all's point earlier about listening to your bodies, you know, if Mondays and Tuesdays are really tough and my normal rest day is Thursday, I might rest on Wednesday and then maybe train Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
It's a moving target.
Yeah, it is. But I think, you know, if you have a general sense of what your goals are and what your training is doing to your body, you know, the impact that it's having on your body.
And I rest when y'all tell me to rest, so.
Well, yeah.
Damn, son. You're like Terminator.
If it's on the schedule, then I do it.
I think one thing that people are really afraid of is the program is very set for the general population. So, like, how do they pick what day they miss? And if they pick a day they miss, are they missing something crucial? And I heard a guy, I don't remember where, say something that I thought was really interesting that may or may not apply to this, but it's this. If you knew someone that 6 days a week ate donuts and hot dogs and didn't get off the couch, and then 1 day a week he ate essentially paleo, for lack of a better term, and worked his ass off, would you say he's healthy? No. Okay, now the opposite. If you do everything right 5 days or 6 days a week, and then 1 day you just go buck wild, you're still pretty healthy. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And people don't put it into that context where that's really important.
Yeah, it's kind of like the 90-10 rule or the 80-20 rule.
I'm on the 70-30 rule.
Well, you need to get that ratio up.
Don't tell me what to do.
30% work, 70% rest.
No, but seriously, I think that might be something people struggle with. How do you pick a day?
Yeah, I think people, specifically in this setting, are worried about missing something. And honestly, and I get that question a lot, especially from new members. They're like, Jamie, I have an unlimited membership, but working out every day is tough. And it is. I mean, if you can work out 6 days a week and rest one and survive on that, then obviously great, more power to you, go for it. And I say that because we have classes,
6 days a week.
6 days a week, and then nothing on Sunday. Then great. If you can recover, that's awesome. But if you are the average new member where you have an unlimited membership, or let me back it up. If you have a 3 day a week membership, I think a lot of times the best way to do it is going to be a Monday, Wednesday, and a Friday in here. We maybe have steered away from it now, but generally, or steered away from it, not as a whole, but generally we lift on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays.
Yeah.
We're generally going through some type of strength cycle like we are now after the Open. It's changed a little bit because we're squatting twice a week, but, when we go through a standard kind of CrossFit total strength cycle where we may squat on Monday, press on Wednesdays, and then deadlift on Fridays, for a new person that's just joining, they need to develop strength first, and I think if you miss the amazing chipper that brings everybody out of the woodworks on a Thursday, not the end of the world.
Chippers are stupid. I'm just going to say it, chippers are stupid. That's Matt's opinion. That's not the opinion of CrossFit RVA.
Well, some, not all.
I happen to like them for the most part.
But that's what I would say for a new person. If you have if you have three days a week to train Mondays, Wednesdays, Fridays. Okay. And the reason I say that is because that gives you a day to rest in between. Okay. Yeah. And then obviously if you're on that 3 day week membership, you shouldn't be. You should be an unlimited member. So you could maybe partake on our awesome Saturday classes, but Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then on either a Saturday or a Sunday, go for a run, go for a hike, do some hill sprints.
Nobody's doing hill sprints, first of all.
Not for fun.
If you take one thing away from this conversation, because this will be the third time I've mentioned hill sprints, is that you should do them. They're one of the most effective forms of training you can do.
I think
nobody's doing hill sprints.
Here, I'm not saying I have the last word, but I'm going to take the last word on this so we can get to the next question. I think that the thing you have to remember after you have already learned how to listen to your body and take your rest days appropriately, is if you're freaking out about missing a day, don't, because this is not an acute process. It's a long-term.
It's a cumulative
process. Like the intention is that this is a lifetime of work. So you have a lifetime to get better at the lifts.
Yes.
And better is a lot of different things. It's not just lifting more weight. It's moving more proficiently, maybe faster, whatever it is. And missing one day, it's not gonna be that big of a deal.
Yeah, let's measure these gains with an odometer and not a ruler.
Damn.
Right. It's a long term.
Bang the
process.
gavel. Next question.
Next question.
We good segue because we talked about it. Ways to combat sore muscles. There's tons of different ways. We should also talk about adrenal fatigue, or just that kind of fatigue too, in general.
I think I'm experiencing adrenal fatigue.
I think adrenal fatigue should probably be after this. Let's do that next.
Okay. Sore muscles.
Sore muscles. Sore muscles require a lot of TLC. Sometimes that can simply involve working out the next day.
How do you know when it's that and not either chilling out, icing, whatever? Which we sort of talked about a little bit before.
Ways to combat sore muscles. I mean, we do it a lot here. I mean, again, it's really a very general question. Everybody's a little bit different. Foam rolling, like I said already, working out the next day, icing, dry needling. I mean, there's really so many different things you could do to combat those sore muscles. But
give me what you should do first.
What you should do first?
Hydrate.
Yes. That's
should be the
a
first
really
good one.
That's
Stay
a really
hydrated.
good point.
Before, during, after, mostly a lot after.
Too many people, they don't drink a whole lot before. They drink a shitload of water during a workout, and then maybe they don't even drink anything afterward. But staying hydrated will certainly help reduce muscle soreness.
How about adding some sort of protein source not long after you tear down your muscles?
Hold on, can we go back? I'm sorry, one thing. How much water should someone drink?
1 gallon.
I don't know the answer to that.
I mean, Jamie, what do you think? I have an idea. I have something that
I try to keep it to the limit that will prevent me from wetting the bed in my sleep. So, like, if I drink so much that I could potentially pee the bed, that's a bad thing.
I think at minimum, 64 ounces of water a day is a good place to start. If you have an Nalgene bottle, that's 2 Nalgenes a day. And of course, if you're drinking teas, coffees, other things throughout the day, there are some water already in those products.
But if there's caffeine, that's gonna kind of limit that water intake, isn't it?
It's not going to completely mitigate it, but yeah, you want to, if you're taking in a lot of caffeine, you want to make sure your water intake is up a little bit higher.
I read, and I'm trying to find it right now. That's why I'm stalling. A recommendation per pound of body weight.
Yeah, I remember hearing that somewhere too, but I don't know what it is either.
Yeah, because
it's certainly not a cup. It's not like is it an ounce for every pound of body weight or something like that? This is where we're going into that scientific realm that I don't know anything about.
Right.
Drink water till you can't drink anymore. Just kidding.
Yeah, that's a bad recommendation.
Induce hyperhidrosis.
Well, my point is that there is a sweet spot for everybody. Most people do not drink enough water, and that Jaw's right that hydration is the first step, and then the second step, because that improves tissue quality, having hydration.
Correct.
Flush is, I would say, the second thing you should do.
How many times, after brutal workouts, do you tell people that are laying on the ground, like, make sure you go home and you drink a lot of water because you got to flush out all that bad stuff?
Yeah,
1 ounce per 2 pounds of body weight.
Okay.
That's how much water generally people should drink.
You should probably write that down.
1 ounce per 2 pounds of body weight.
So for the average 180-pound man, we're talking about 90 ounces of water, which is basically 3/4 of a gallon.
Yep.
So...
And is that the minimum, though?
Yeah, I would say that's the minimum. So if you're working out, drinking coffee, living a sweaty life,
right,
you're getting very sweaty.
Yeah, if you're putting out,
I live a sweaty life.
You need to take a little more in. So hydration. Next. What's
flush.
next?
Let's talk about flush. Flushing, like you were talking about, foam rolling.
Foam rolling.
Just soft tissue care.
First thing, you want to make sure you're hydrated. We covered that. Second thing, immediately after training, I see, and I know people have to get out of here, when they're done with a class, but something simple as taking 3 or 4 minutes and stretching a little bit. And it just could be the muscle group that you worked most or worked the hardest. If we did a lot of deadlifts in a workout, I'll make sure that I can sit down and stretch my hamstrings for a few minutes.
Roll out your lower back.
Spend some time rolling out some of that tissue in my lower back, while those muscles are still hot.
Why are you doing that, and how is that going to help you not be sore?
You're just, again, we talked about flushing.
Yeah.
Flushing some of that junk out of your system.
Soreness, tell me if I'm wrong. There's probably competing science on this, but it's junk in your muscles, in the blood. It's accumulated like damage.
Is that the same as when you have junk in your trunk?
Is that the same kind of junk in your muscles?
that's the good.
That
that's the
different?
good kind of junk. We're not talking about.
Oh.
But am I correct?
My
Yeah,
mistake.
I mean, basically, after a really hard workout,
There's debris.
there is debris. You have muscle, you have the soft tissue, and you have the fascia and things like that. I mean, you have your muscles. All your muscles have a sheath over top of them, and
sheathe your sword.
a lot of times one of the effects of training is a lot of that stuff gets kind of stuck together. So if you foam roll a little bit, you stretch a little bit after you're done working out, you're gonna hopefully mitigate, some of that.
I think I'm guilty of this.
Some of that sticky, stickiness, if you will. Very,
Sticky.
very technical exercise
I've been
term.
guilty of it, and I am still to this day. But I think a lot of people don't really realize that preventing soreness is something that, like you were saying, like right after, it has to start happening almost as like a preemptive strike, because typically a lot of people, they'll come in here and they'll start stretching and foam rolling and doing that stuff because they are sore, and not as a means of prevention. It's always a way to get through the soreness. Right. It's a rehabilitation thing and not a preventative measure.
Prehab.
Yeah, you have to think of it as a prehab
Yeah,
thing.
when it really is very much like a preventative measure as well, to do these things prior to, during, and after you are already experiencing that soreness.
Your recovery should be taken just as seriously as your training.
Correct.
So if you're freaking out about missing a day here, you should be freaking out about missing a foam rolling session or not getting your hydration, not eating properly before.
Yeah, so this isn't really muscle soreness, but overall like joint care, which I think in a lot of the stuff
I would
that
say
we
that's
do,
under that.
like
umbrella.
the impact on your joints from a lot of the stuff that happens in here. Like pick any point, shoulder, elbow, wrist, hip, ankle, knee, whatever. For me, again, back to the fact that I've had shoulder problems pre-CrossFit, and it's just kind of been something that's persisted throughout. Not enough to, in most cases, like take me out of the game altogether, but certainly a limiting factor. And when I played baseball, we used to always do it. Used to ice elbows and shoulders and things of that nature. And for whatever reason, I just didn't do it. And the first question that someone always asks me is, are you icing your shoulder? Like I say, man, my shoulder's killing me after all these workouts. I go, well, are you icing it? No, I'm not. And I started recently doing that, in conjunction with some band work and stuff to kind of get the muscles stretched out, but always icing, a couple times a night, 30 minutes on, 30 minutes off kind of a thing. Like while I'm sitting and watching TV, and it's made a world of difference.
Well, that was going to be my question. Have you noticed a difference?
Oh my God, it's been like night and day. I mean, I almost always have shoulder pain.
Right.
And until, like I just told you, my shoulder was killing me after Tuesday, and I didn't ice it because it was like a really delayed soreness. I basically woke up and it was hurting. So last night I iced the crap out of it, and today I woke up and it feels great, and then and that's even with me knowing that icing makes it feel better. I should have iced it after that workout, knowing that it was so shoulder intense, and I just chose not to for whatever reason.
Great segue. So third tier of, real quick, so we can get to the next question. Third tier after hydration, flushing, what are you going to recommend people do for muscle soreness if those two things are not particularly effective?
Well, I mean, there are certainly other things you can do, that again are going to be a more preventative solution. A prehab, a rehab, and things like that. We're moving on to, beyond icing. We're talking about things like
massage.
Well, yes.
Ice baths. Those are brutal.
Ice baths are brutal, but they are one of the most effective things that I've found to help with soreness.
You got to have a tub
Epsom
and
salt,
you have a buttload of ice.
Epsom salt's serious and it works.
Epsom salt is I think thought of as an
Witchcraft.
as an old wives' tale sometimes, but soaking your sore body,
Player witchcraft.
in a with 10 or not 10 pounds, but
Is that bath salts? No, that's something different.
No, that's gonna make you eat your partner's face.
Oh Lord.
Dry needling is one.
Yeah, I like dry needling. I've done that. It hurts like hell, but
Graston.
I haven't done that. I know Jake
Dude,
has.
that is not a joke.
Jake's a big fan of Graston.
I got dry needled and Grastoned, and I don't know if that's the verb, but
Is that the proper
Graston. It's the
conjugation of
Graston
that?
technique.
I got it all in the same day,
Mm-hmm.
and I couldn't walk. I got it on my calves, and I was so sore I could not
Yeah.
walk.
I got dry needled in my calves once, and I had to slide down the stairs on my butt.
I've never had anything outside of a sensual massage. I've never received a
Ooh.
therapeutic massage.
They're incredible.
I know. I feel like that. I
Incredibly
probably
painful.
need to like get on that
You
train
don't
for at least
know
like,
what you're missing.
like once every month or so.
But
don't
I
know.
think though for massage and dry needling can get expensive for most people. So sometimes maybe it's not always a choice financially. But
Right.
that's where simple things you can do at home, the ice baths,
Yes.
the Epsom salt baths, all those things will be, they're super cheap but extremely effective.
And that's why I would say you don't move on to Graston dry needle massage until you've exhausted hydration, prehab from the workouts, and then your
Right.
own like Epsom salt ice. We have to get to the next question.
Yes.
Safe lifting. More specifically, how do you know when it's your I can't go any higher? If you get stapled by a barbell, I would say that's the first sign.
When we're
that
maxing,
should be a guarantee right there. If you get folded up by
Yeah.
something, you should just hang it up.
Instant feedback with that one.
Yeah, that is
obviously-
your life telling you that you should not go any higher.
First sign when you miss. Like when you miss something that's really heavy, obviously this is very clear, cut and dry.
Right.
When you miss, that's not to say don't try it again, but if you try something, if you try a heavy squat and you miss it, and you're like, oh shit, well I pitched forward.
Depends
a
on the
little bit.
nature of the miss.
Right, unless
yeah.
you had an obvious
Right.
technical failure that you can be like, oh, I did that because I put all my weight
Yeah.
on my toes or whatever the situation was.
But if you're technically sound and you're grinding something out and that squat just doesn't happen, I'll give it a shot. You never know what could happen the second time. But anything beyond that, once you feel like technique is really starting to break down, I think that's the first sign.
I don't try anything more than twice. If I do it once and I miss it and I think it was because of some like if it's on an O lift or something, like, okay, well, I know I didn't finish my third pull or I jumped a little forward or whatever, I'll give it one more shot.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, like, no matter what, if I miss it the second time, I don't care if like it was a near miss or
You're done.
I stop. I hang it up for the day
Yeah.
because what am I really trying to shoot for here? Is this a competition when I'm just doing that? No, like I'm just training for the day.
You live to fight another day.
And I've had too many instances where I've pushed it, and at that point, even though you didn't get the lift, you're still expunging a maximum amount of effort to try to even attempt it.
Right.
You go much beyond that, you're putting yourself in a dark cavern filled with injuries.
Yeah, well, I think you're talking about staying technically sound.
Right.
Right. I mean, I think one of the biggest things I see, and we try to combat it as coaches.
Sure.
Probably the most notorious, or the easiest thing to spot, hey, when you're done, is when we deadlift.
Right.
Not every PR is going to be the prettiest and most technical thing, in this world. I mean,
Sure.
sometimes they are, but let's be honest. I mean, most of the times they're not. But if I see somebody try, they're working up to a 400-pound deadlift. 365 looks great. Solid. 385 looks great. Boom. Okay, I want this 5-pound PR at 400 pounds, and they pull it, and it's kind of slow, and the back gets a little rounded and all that, and they finish it without, struggling too much. And by struggling, I mean starting to shake and hitch and all that stuff when they stand up. Great. You got it. Good lift. You made it. But if that person's going to ask me if they should go again, no, probably not.
Shut it down for the day.
If you had enough wherewithal to think during that lift, man, I bet this looks like shit, you should probably stop. And I know that's a very hardline stance and, not a very nice way to put it, but it's true.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I think at any point in
No
time,
PR is worth hurting yourself.
Right. Well, whenever, even if you get the lift, like you just said on the deadlift, you know, the second that you start to feel, whether you got a successful lift or not, the second that either you feel or someone points out to you that your form is starting to degrade, then you need to hang it up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because what's more important, like hitting a 5-pound PR or not being able to train for 3 weeks?
Right.
You know, and
Yeah. But I think at the same time, too, you know, we're talking about, you know, when should I stop? I feel like we would do a disservice to not say, hey, when should you keep going?
right.
And not to, like,
When should you keep going?
you know, just because something's hard and you got it doesn't mean you shouldn't go. I mean, I think if you're wondering whether you should stop or keep going, ask us. Ask your coach. You know, they're the ones most likely watching you go for that attempt. You know, they're going to give you a better assessment. You know, you can't watch yourself when you're lifting. You know, even if you watch it on video or whatever, you're still not watching it live. You know, we'll be able to tell you when to go up.
Right.
But I think a lot of people also stop too soon sometimes. You know, oh man, that was really hard, but that's, you know, that's a 5-pound PR. But, you know, something heavy should be hard.
Like learning what is quote unquote
Right.
hard for,
You know,
like a back squat is a
when
whole lot different.
And I
than-
think you should probably run through that mental checklist that I talked about. You know, did your positions feel good? You know, ask your coach, hey, how was my back? Or, you know, if you're going for a clean, did I stay tight? I mean, all these different things I know we're throwing out there, but ask us, let us know. You know, and if something is hard, and it doesn't mean you shouldn't go up.
it should feel hard below.
It should feel hard, and you know,
your
and if you
max.
go up and your back starts to round on a deadlift, drop it.
Things
You're done.
Yeah.
You know, you got as heavy as you could that day. Maybe it's PR, maybe it's not. You know, I think that's another offshoot. Is not every day is going to be a PR, and that's all right.
Right.
You know, if it says go to a heavy single, and you know, maybe you're tired from training for 3 days, and you get to something that maybe 85 or 90% of your max, and it feels like 150%. That's all right. Stop. It's not worth it.
Absolutely.
Sometimes you're the hammer, and sometimes you're the nail. We got too many questions. We got to go to a part 2.
All
You guys
right.
okay with that?
Yes.
So that's all we got for this week. We'll come back. It'll be the same day for us, but it'll be a different week from you. Jake's not here, so I'll sign it off. It's not that big of a deal. It's just exercise.